I have no choice but have to talk about the recent development of our first team. The crisis sprawling around Hoffenheim, well, that may be a common speaking in the recent week, but let's look into the Bundesliga table. 6 matches played so far. We are only 1 point off the relegation zone, but also only 9 points off the champions. So it is still early to say this as a crisis, or even talking something like we are going to relegate this season. Another new to 3 home defeat doesn't necessarily mean a bad performance. Coincidentally, the performance was somehow similar, yet better than what we lost to Freiburg 2 weeks ago. With the interesting lineup Elvis Roder makes, he surprisingly put Baumgartner and Bilbao up front, while putting once again Skorf on the left wing back, supported by Hubner, and also Posch was positioned as the right full back. Opportunities were created through the match intermittently. Mönchengladbach was mainly the passive side even in the second half, but only the counter-attacks were getting fierce later in the second half. With the introduction of Adam Yang in the second half, our team was more energetic and organic. Elvis Roder intended to push all the personnel forward, even letting Apokuma and Posch working in the midfield areas. First of all, our team was really weak in front of goals with the absence of Belfodil. Baumgartner was wrongly assigned. As you know, he should be the central midfielder. For Skorf, I know what Schroeder thinking about, because he doesn't want the left hand side ineffective. However, it wastes his original ability and function. And also the few lapses in the defensive areas passing gave way to the chances to the fast-paced and strong players like Embolo, Plia, and Thuram. Neuhaus was also assigned a better role than what Marco Rose previously did. All in all, it may be correct that something has been taken shape as suggested by Elvis Roder after the match with interview, but it was far from enough, and the tactics of compelling to attack in the second half led us exposed to the counter-attacks, which also cost us the second and the third goal, and in other occasions it could be 4 or even 5. Hubner was really unsatisfied with his below-par performance, causing the first and second goals. So we reject the responsibility to Grealish and Rudy for not anticipating and protecting the defensive line when Mönchengladbach initiate the counter-attack made by either liner passes or Kramer. We can see Schroeder truly wants to dominate the possession, even though sometimes he adjusts this approach on the pitch. I will discuss this very soon. It is important that we do not overlook our team performance is Wolfsburg. Well, this is a truly inspiring performance. Our team played an open-ended game with the stronger opponent. This time Belfodil was here. Well, match against Wolfsburg was played before the match against Mönchengladbach, from your information. And Skorf was again put on the left back. The highly concentrated and disciplined performance didn't give a lot of chances to Weghorst, Gerhardt, and other midfield players. Our defensive line was strong to react any passes and shots, as Schroeder intends to push the team towards our own penalty area. This kind of perseverance and resistance should have been our real standard. Of course, it is lucky that the Wolfsburg coach Glasner didn't choose the highly threatening Rosalind on the field, making Poch and Cutterback more comfortable. But we must praise what the team did in the front. The passing and interplay was just in time and efficient, making very hard for the opponents to make the tackles and interception. Scorf was proven he has the quality to be a very good striker, not only because of his middle range effort only to be denied by the goalpost. So we could sum up that this should be the most brilliant performance so far this season, because Elvis Schroeder built up the formation based on the display about. Well, before talking about the match against Bayern Munich tomorrow, I would like to discuss, should we trust our coach? Should we give him more time? In a recent interview, he said, "People demand results too quickly and too often. It is important for a coach to have time. Only then can philosophies and ideas be implemented in order to achieve success." Our peer also noticed about the difficulties they met in the opening matches, and they also tend to give a vote of confidence to Schroeder as they learned that he was willing to communicate with them, either privately or publicly. Some of the players already knew him when he was our assistant coach. He should have the abilities to reorganize the morale and formation by feeling the best player in the best position. So a revamp is not necessary. And talking about firing him is total nonsense. I prefer to agree with Schroeder because he has the quality to adjust to make our team better and better. But it doesn't mean that he has to do nothing. He should be able to make the changes as soon as he can as follows. Firstly, please use Adam Yang more and more. Adam Yang has already proved himself he could be the starting striker, as he was more willing to mobilize himself for finding opportunities in addition to creating spaces and chances for the teammates. The second thing is, please think more about the defensive midfield areas. Grealish and Rudy are truly unstoppable players. Does not deserve even a place in our team. On the pitch, Grealish was prone to become a true midfielder instead of the box-to-box function. I agree, Rudy could not be replaced for his ability to link up the attacking and defensive session, plus he very precise long passes. But it was really far from enough. We did not have a wall in front of centre backs unless Grealish could push himself back in the appropriate situation. The third thing is play more directly from defensive midfield area to centre backs. That means we have to make the passes longer and wider. We should not always make the short passes through the defensive midfielder, as the opponents may employ the striker and midfielders to devise the oppressive tactics. Then mistakes will be easily committed. The fourth thing is stop relying heavily to Cutterback. Obviously, Cutterback is a stronger side, especially in the opening matches. We always use him as the attacking players rather than his original duty in the right back. I think Schroeder should let the other sides take more attacking responsibility. Personally, Carterback could be more and more powerful for his aerial ability, either by using him in the free kick or making him to receiving the long balls, running from behind. Another thing that Elvis Schroeder need to examine is that while we are still waiting Kamarik and Suba to be fit back on the pitch, he still needs to think about whether Bilbao continues to be the striker, or he could try to use Locadia as a lone striker supported by Bilbao and Skov. And so in general, I think he needs to finalize the starting lineup as soon as possible. I know the team is subject to the injury list, but we need to always try to avoid using something like Baumgartner as a striker and Skov as the left back. It should not be the case when the team is going into the 7th match in the league. So the match against Bayern Munich is of course a hard one, especially Gnabry, who was our ex-player in the season of 2017 and 18, was on fire in recent matches. Well, look at his performance against Tottenham Hotspur and you will know. The formation and organization has become much better in shape under the guidance of coach Niko Kovac, with the addition of Coutinho in the midfield, not to mention Pulisic and Tolisso. The question is whether we have any plan to contain their domination on pitch. I really think that Hoffenheim could earn a point tomorrow, not because of the brilliant record in the era of Nagelsmann, but to the possible team tactical change. I guess Roder may cease to dominate the match, and it is very important to adopt an offensive and counter-attack tactics. I don't know whether he will adopt and employ it or not, but this is really a good option. In this way, Bayern Munich will find itself hard to organize and find himself less and less space in the midfield areas. The only problem would be we have to be extremely careful on our right back when we have to deal with either Pulisic or Coleman. Another major weakness lies in their centre backs. Well, Nicolas Soule, well, we know him very well. He has been very slow, and most importantly, he does not know well about a new pair of strikers. Boateng is somehow a hidden bomb. If we could make use of our aerial abilities, either using Carterback or even Porsche or even Locadia, the bomb could be unleashed once again if we craft it very carefully. The so-called free kick tactics could be exercised well beforehand. In general, discipline and concentration are the key to our success in the match against Bayern Munich for being the possible giant killer. Well, we have nothing to lose against Bayern Munich. We always hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Let's see the best scenario could be realized tomorrow night.